Welcome everybody to another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers, sponsored by Wet and Camp Transport, Front Street Toys, Casper Egg, Slama Enterprises, and Trip Downing. So welcome everybody. We're going to talk about turbos tonight. What's kind of going on around other organizations and kind of piece it together and pull it apart and be the devil's advocate about it and talk about it. Greg, what do you got?
We're going to talk about box turbos for the 4-1 class because a Missouri group, one of my friends out there said they're talking about going to a box turbo for the 4.1 class. And they're actually going to do a 4.3 turbo. That was what was proposed. And they're going to dyno this turbo so it's the same horsepower as kind of what we're making it at 4.1s right now. But the builder of these turbos is going to warranty them for 3 years. They're going to be cheaper and, have them there. But, is it better for the class or is it not? That's the question. Which way do you go? Is it, it's financially, I really think it probably is better for the class to go with a box turbo, but does it take creativeness out of building a new one and being better and being the guy that built something, came up with something, and you can't use it? Does it end progress in the class, right?
Growth. Yep. And does it, the other part of that is for instance, if I was with this organization, I wanted to come pull with you, I don't have that charger. So now I can't come to your event this weekend and help support your pull because I'm not pulling, with my group, but I want to support Badger State. So now that puts me in a tough spot. So on one hand, you save money, but on the other hand, now I got to buy another turbocharger to come pull with you guys or come pull with NTPA or ITPA or wherever. So,
right. Well, that's why they're dynoing this, trying to build this 4.3 turbo to be pretty much what a 4.1 is. You know what I mean?
True.
The boost, but to run like a 4.1. So they can buy the second turbo and just put it on and go there. But then is that financially better for you to have to own two of them?
Then the other part of this is I got my 4.3, I got my setup running pretty hot. And I come pull with you guys, mix it up and see how it is, and I end up winning. Now what about the other guys that are running a 4.1 and now they know that I got a 4.3? How's that gonna affect?
Well, the 4.3 would not. The way the rules are right now, we would not allow the 4.3 to run with us. That person would have to have a second turbo to come run with us or anywhere else, and, I've been talking to some other guys in NTPA and PPL and Outlaws and, they're all, nobody wants to commit to anything is really what it's coming down to. But I know in Excalibur, the people in the class voted to do it. But tonight, I think there's a meeting for the board of directors to decide whether that's what they should do or not. And I'm not saying going one way or the other. We're just here to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the a box turbo and not.
And that could be for any class. We could say next year Hot Farm's got box turbo. This is what it is. This is what we're doing. So we're looking at it at all angles, and if anybody's got any comments on this or any heartfelt feelings or anything about it, please put it on there so we can kind of peel that onion back.
100%. That's why we're here. We want people's input on this. And the guys I was talking to before said, yes, let's hear what the people have to say. So really, please jump on here and say what you think because, I'm torn. I really am. I am. I see the financial benefits of going to a box turbo, but it kind of takes a competitive edge away. And I do know for a fact, I'm just going to say one time I was at the dyno back when I was Super Farm, and I had 3 Columbus turbos there. They're supposed to be identical. We put them all 3 on, and one of them was 80 horse better than the other 2 on my tractor.
Why?
I don't know. And I'm going to use Tom Gallitz. He's a good friend of mine, and he has 2 identical tractors, supposedly. Same heads, same motors. And Vinny boys tell me the same thing about their Super Farms. They build everything the same. One runs better. They can take the fuel system, the air off of the one, and put it on the other one, and it still doesn't run as good, right?
Right.
Why is that?
Jason
Why does that
said
happen?
that. Jason said that on here. What made his run good is they dynoed it and on his brothers, and it didn't work out. It lost power.
Trip says Josh Dunn's going to have to change his name of his tractor to time for 4.3 more. That's funny. Yep. Yeah. Right. What do you do? It's I'm
so the hard part
we lean on it, and that's why we're here. And I've got my feelings, I really see the benefit of the 4.1 being, or the 4.3 being in the end 3 years warranty on your turbo. Wouldn't that be great? And then, but man, if I come up with a better idea, I want it to work. You know what I mean? Right. So
the other thing though is Greg, and you know this, and this could be you in some point, shape, or form. As the president and being on the board of directors, you have a complete class that has voted yes. We want to do this. This is what we want to do, and we forward it to you and the board of directors. Now the board of directors has to make this decision, and this is tougher yet because now all of you on that board are pullers. You all have stake in the game. You also have stake in the organization. The greater good for the organization is the number one thing, but you need pullers to grow. Now, will this help the class grow, or will it make it stagnant? And who's here is who's here, and that's it. And if you do vote it in, how long do you have that rule voted in? Everybody buys these chargers, and then a year from now, you say we're going a different route. I mean, you almost got to kind of lock it in for 3 years of the warranty, don't you? You do.
And and what I see, as far as a turbo builder, you might send this class of turbos to this builder, this class of turbos to this builder, if it would go to box turbos everywhere, and give everybody a chance. But then they're just cranking them out. They don't have to think about making them better.
Right.
I don't know.
The other thing too is you take away from one business, or you stick with one business, and now you're stuck with that. There's plenty out there. Weimar and Fair Valley. Just Hearts.
Right.
Hypermax still does pumps and stuff, and
right.
What's that going to mean for business for the others? Other than yes, there's other classes, but
right.
You're still making a monopoly of that market in a way.
Right, but when you and then when you go to box turbo in every class, that Weimers don't have to do any research anymore to make that turbo any better, or Hearts, whoever's doing it. They're done. So that guy that has always thought he could make something better, there's no need for him around anymore.
But
then again, as a puller, let's look at it as a puller though too. If I get a 3-year warranty on my turbo, I'm looking at all sides. I'm not picking a side. I'm just saying, you have a warranty now in this turbo for 3 years. And that thing's bulletproof. And what they're talking about building is, you will never have to fix that thing unless you run something through it. And you'd have to run something big through it. The turbo they're talking about building.
And this is my humble opinion. I'm thinking as equal opportunity wreckers, if you give it to the Elsing boys, they can figure out how to make it work and not work.
Right. But you want to, do you want to take that competitive edge away? And what makes America great?
Yeah.
Somebody coming up with a better idea.
Didn't the Outlaws, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Outlaws have a box charger for the pro stock class for quite some time?
They still do. They still do. Yep. And they have a great class going out there. They do. I see it, and it's a great class. Guys show up every week, and I don't know if one guy dominates or not. I don't know that, but they run them, and they seem happy with it. So, it's a tough call, right?
Colin Burkholz. If they're comfortable alienating themselves while also gambling, the country catches on and wants to go that route, then they look smart. All takes time.
Colin, you're 100% right, and that's exactly what the guys in Missouri are saying. We think, but what happens if it don't work? And what happens? This is something everybody's got to talk about, right? We could talk about it all day long here, but we have to talk. I want to talk to the guys that are actually competing. I never talk about the guys that may build for the class. You owe the guys that are competing today their say. They've supported you. They're here. I don't want to hear about the guy that might build for this class if we change the rule. No, that's bullshit. That's wrong. I want you better support the guys that are here for you every day, what they want.
Yes. And as track county pullers, have had that happen a few times. Well, I'm building one. We need to change this or whatever. And I was seen it years ago, with the garden tractor organizations too. Oh, our guy does and the rest don't. Well, now you got one odd duck you're trying to squeeze into a class somewhere and run them together. And well, it kind of works, but it don't. And it's just hard.
Right. It is. You have to support the guys that are there and work with the guys that you have. You've got, and limited pro class right now, to me, is one of the best classes in pulling. It really is. It is. You go to Louisville, them guys are all right there. They put on a better show than pro stock all day long, I think, as far as competition. You know what I mean? I do. I really do that.
That class was great. That class was excellent down there. And
sometimes it's been excellent the last 6 years, 5-6 years, right? Yep.
It's a good class to watch. It's basically, people say, kind of the pro stock of 2000, but it's not even, it's way beyond that. What pro stocks are making in 2000 with the egg chassis, it's well above and beyond that by a good 1,000 horse.
Right. And guys talk about, well, we're at our limit. We're breaking transmissions and rear ends. I really don't see that in our club. The only ones I see is the John Deeres with the 4020s that haven't gone to a profab yet. And I understand it's very expensive them to buy power shift transmission to put in there. I guess that housing's pretty expensive. You have to put in there to put the profab in. But you chose that, just like a 60-30 guy chose that heavy tractor, and they have to pay to lighten it all up. You chose what you're driving. That's the way I feel. And we all have problems with each brand, whatever there is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yep. We stick with a 1066 rear end in our tractor, not a 706 one, because it's heavier built, and we're not breaking something there. Knock on wood. But you pick your poison. You know what I mean? There's a challenge with every breed of tractor out there. Something's wrong with it. Yeah.
In all of them, you choose to pull an Alice or something like that, or look at the Olivers. I mean, look what they had to do to make Oliver's work.
Yep. Look what Kevin Engelking did to make a white work.
Yes.
That of all the guys in the 401 was probably one of the biggest challenges to make it work.
Yeah, but he takes that on with pride because he does. He won't back down. This is going to go. We're going to make it work. It's going to happen.
Yep.
It's hard to get new builds too right now because nobody knows how to build it because of the talks of big change in certain classes.
There is, and the rumor is out there that NTPA wants to go components next year with the 401, but they tabled the light pros for 3 years can't build a component chassis. Well, if any class needs a component chassis, it's a class that has the same horsepower, a little more horsepower maybe, but 1,000 pounds lighter.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. And why mess up a class that you have great participation in and good numbers all the time? Why mess it up?
Yeah.
Right?
Don't fix what's broke, not broke.
Right. So, but back to the box turbo thing, what do you please anybody listening, Colin made a good point there, but I'm on the fence. Really am. I really am. Right. Adam Stevens, don't ruin a good thing. Right.
Yeah.
And the new turbo rule that Mears came up with for the 401s, it's going to take them back 50 horse right now from what we had last year, which is fine. which helps your drive line, helps your drive, everything in the back. And guys talked about lowering the drawbar to 19 inches. Why is 20? It's been 20 my whole life. I've been pulling 45 years. It's always been 20 inches. Why not take it back to 19 inches? And it'd be easier on everything else.
James, even if you're tuned in, you're going to miss it. Just
yep.
Not easy being James Geezy.
Right. We're talking about, James, we're talking about the box turbo situation that Excalibur's doing, and potential everywhere, but the pros and cons of box turbos. I don't know what I look at one side and I think, like I said, it's financially probably the smart thing to do, but it takes away from a competitive edge, somebody that comes up with a better idea. You trust this guy to build your turbo. He came up with something better. Maybe you want that, and that's part of competition, right?
In even, I guess there's still a lot, as far as competition wise, if you have a box charger, fuel pump, injection stuff, cam grinds, a lot of different things, you're still making quite a bit of horsepower. It's just now you got to work around that certain hurdle to make more power. Right. But a lot of times too is you can have all the power in the world. If you can't hook it up, it's not any good to you.
Right. Well, I don't see, Limit Pro's been around for 10 years already. And I don't see another 500 horse gain coming. I don't. Where would it be if you keep the pumps where they're at, keep the turbos where they're at? I mean, we had 160 horse gain last year. And now we're losing 50 of it. The way it is. The way the turbo went, which it is what it is, right?
What's new turbo rule for 4.1? Outlaw prop wheel?
No, took it back to it can only protrude. We'll know the rule next. We'll read the rule for sure next Saturday and at our meeting, at our spring meeting next Saturday at Norris at 1:00, and it'll be there, right?
No problem. What was the Meinholz one, Ryan? Can you put that back up? Melissa Meinholz. Vern says, in the words of Papa John Meyer, it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah,
he's right. But is it broke or not? Are we going to get? When's the last time some young guys got into some of these classes without help?
Yeah.
Is it broke or not? It's not broke right now, but does the future look good?
Well, and like you say, it's getting to be where you got to tank a lot of money into it just to keep them going. Is it? Are guys going to keep going that way? I mean, like a pro stock. Are you guys going to keep going, running pro stocks and keep running them that hard, or are they going to taper off? Or that's like the 5.0 pro stock class. I see a lot of people jumping in that because you're limited, and like you just said, the rear ends, they'll live, the motor will live, they'll live longer. You still get a good ride out of it, but
yep. But they'll take that 5-inch turbo. They'll take that 5-inch turbo just like they do a 4.1 turbo, a Super Farm turbo. Remember when Super Farm, I was pulling Super Farm, we broke 1,000 horse. It was a big deal. Now they're at 1,700 horse. So that's a 50% gain. So imagine what they'll do with a 5-inch turbo too, unless you make a box turbo out of it. You're going to be paying big money for a 5-inch turbo eventually because they're going to tweak and do what they can to make them things run.
Yeah, Aaron Oldenburg. You can't put a box turbo in a currently running class. You need to start with a box turbo in a new class, in my opinion. I see what he's getting at there.
Yep, 100%.
My devil's advocate to that is, the more classes we get, then the less numbers you're going to have in each class. And as an announcer, you take 10 966, 1066 international tractors to the average fan that goes to a couple pulls a year that isn't into it like the rest of us are in the art of it, is to explain the differences of those 10 tractors. Hot Farm, Pro Farm got the same size tires on. The rest of them got 24 5s on other than the super stock. Well, how did I
Yep.
know that's super stock's only got one pipe? You know, so
Right.
it's hard.
Yeah. Creating another class is not the answer. You either got to get rid of one and then create. Like we'd go 5-inch. My opinion is if 401 wants components, then we should just go 5-inch. There's the rules out there already. If they want to go with that, we should just be 5-inch or pro stock class, right? Because that's my opinion of it. We don't need that, and we don't need that. But you can't create another class. People say, when's Badger State going to add a 5.0 class? Well, which one do you want to get rid of? We have too many already. I can't get enough hooks for all the classes the way it is.
It's hard to promote it, but I don't think you can just get rid of one. But
but you can't add another one either.
Yeah, well, I feel, this is my feelings, I think there's going to be some 5-inch guys wanting to come pull at Badger State and grow the club.
But what happens to only 3 of them for how many years? What are you going to do with that?
That's the hard part, is to how many are going to come along, then promote it, which on one side of promoter, you got another tool in toolbox. You can, cut some pulls down for this class and add this one in, spread it out, makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, you got to have, if they're going to come, then you got to have the numbers.
Yeah, you got to have numbers. You can't sell something that there's no numbers in.
Yes.
You can't. I've been doing this for a long time. If you could get, remember when Limited Pro started, we let the Super Farm guys pull in it for numbers when we did it. Yep.
Geezy says, I like turning the 4.1s into a 5-inch class. Then in time, you get rid of the 5.0 class to make the jump into the pro stock.
Right.
Geezy, you might as well go there now and be done with it. Just go.
Right. Just go right to pro stock.
Go right to pro stock. Yep. No sense.
In Badger State, we're pretty fortunate. In Badger State, we're pretty fortunate. We have good numbers in every class. We do. We really do, compared to most people. And the light pros are going to gain, sounds like 3 or 4 this year. So I think we're really set pretty good.
Colin's got a valid point there too. We got a 5-inch. What did that say? We have 5.0 Pro and 5.0 Light Pro seems redundant, if you ask me. That's
right. 100%. Yep. Colin's right.
Dirk,
there was some up. Yep.
The number 1 flagman chiming in. Box turbos take away turbo builder competition. 10 years ago, you never heard of Weimer. And I think Amy typed that because no way Dirk could type that well.
Nope. It took him the whole time to do that.
Yeah. We love you, Dirk. Most days.
Yep. I want to get back to my grind each weekend. Yeah. Right. That don't happen, but still. I don't know. I like where the Limited Pro class is. It's a great class. But I see young guys. How many young guys? When's the last time a young guy that never pulled before jumped in there?
Any class.
In any class. It's any class. They're all getting out of hand. What do you have to do to get some of these young? Because we're getting older, and if my boys, if I would have been pulling and had something for them, I don't think they could do it.
No.
Right.
That's doesn't it young guys? What if I wanted to start out right now? Just thinking of the price tag of building a hot farm right now.
Right.
What would you do? I mean, that price tag's not far off from a super farm. Do you build a hot farm or do you build a super farm or what do you do?
Right. 100%. Yep.
It did.
It took him a long time to type it did. Yeah.
We're sorry.
Yeah. Dirk stopped at shop today. We had a long talk about things and how things are going. So we got some stuff straightened out. We're good to go.
You got him straightened out or he got you straightened out?
Well, we both got straightened out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, all right. I'll go with that. We'll go with that one.
Yep.
Yeah. Let that one slide. Yeah.
Yep. So, but
the hard part too is, you vote for a box turbo and let's go with a box turbo. What are our options? So what if you got like three places that want to build a turbocharger for you? Which one do you pick?
Well, that's what I said. That's like before I said, if we go to box turbo, you let one builder build this class and one builder build that class, but they're going to lose. Why do you have an R&D guy then? Right? That's where I see it too. Why would say Weimers or Harts or whoever keep an R&D guy around to think about better stuff, because you don't really need to, right? Because you just keep building the same thing. True. And then all of a sudden the shop is down to one guy doing something. Is that what makes it better? I don't know. Like I said, I see all sides of it, and I don't know.
And as a turbo builder, and you decide to make a change now, because, for instance, this wheel is creating too much, it's too hard on the bearing, we're having bearing problems, so we got to make a change. Well, now you got to change every one of those that are out there. So,
yep,
straight across the board.
But that's part of what the warranty is with it. The other thing I thought about too is, what happens out you have this turbo for 3 years, and all of a sudden the turbo builder says, hey, your next one's going to give you 400 more horse. If you go for a 4.3, you should make more power than a 4.1. All of a sudden he says, well, you guys want to go faster, we're going to do this. All right, that's the reason we didn't do that, why we stuck with 4.1, because the drive line and all this would handle it. And all of a sudden you're making more power, and then your drive line don't handle it. You don't want that. But you got to run that because that's the box turbo.
If you remember back to go to 4.3 was kind of the turning point too of the turbochargers, 4.3 to 4.5, where things really started breaking. The internationals broke bull pinion shafts, and the Deers are having gear trouble and shafts balling up in there. And, they had a high and low side, a lot of guys did, and the high and low, would take the beating. And then oilers put on them, and they're direct oiling into the ring and pinion and direct oiling into different areas that were the problems, which helped and kept things going. But, things in motion, stay in motion type, you fix this and what do you got down the road,
Right. And how do you make sure that somebody didn't mess with that box turbo and do something different with it? I mean, you have to take that off and send it away or swap it out. Have another, you don't have to have a spare there, swap it out with the guy and say, hey, somebody might have, put a bounty on your turbo, and just, do you switch it? Do you have a bounty? John, you got a better turbo than mine. I'm going to give you $500. We're switching turbos. Because I think yours runs better than mine. What do you do?
It's like stock car racing, like hobby stocks. There's a carburetor rule like that where, I win. They inspect it. It looks good. And you pay that and say, all right, well, I got John's carburetor for next weekend. We'll just, where's that? And then somebody does the same thing to you. Where does my carburetor end up?
Right. And you might have just picked a good one or a bad one off the box when you got drawn up to pick one. They put them on a shelf. Spring meeting, everybody comes up, or fall meeting, whatever. Everybody come up and grab their turbo for this year, take it home and dyno it. Get it ready. James had on there, Geezy had a little bit about what about revamping the turbo. Well, that's what I said before about what happens if 3 years, all of a sudden they want to give you another 300 horse. Everybody. Well, the reason they're looking at this and trying to keep it where it's at is because to keep the drive lines in shape, you won't have to go to components. Just, 80%, 80-90% of the Badger State guys do not want to go to components in the 4.1 class, and we have a great class of them. They don't. That you talk to. They're happy where they're at, and I really don't think we have a lot of breakage in our club. I really don't. In the 4.1 class and drive lines.
You don't have a lot of catastrophic breakage.
No. When something breaks, they usually know why it broke. Because I didn't buy this part. You hear guys, I was still running that stock, whatever, and I didn't buy the billet one. But I guess I should have.
Well,
right?
no.
Yep.
Well, no.
Yep. So, I don't know.
The other part of that, is there a kickback to the organization for having a box turbo? Do the Outlaws have a kickback for that in the pro stock class, or is it just so you keep the
I don't
costs
know.
down on competitors?
I don't know, but I wouldn't expect one. Say you're buying a $19,000 turbo or a $20,000 turbo now. The box turbo is only 10. Do you really need a kickback? You know, you're saving $9,000 as a competitor right now. Do you look for the kickback,
Right.
or just make that box turbo 19,000? Yeah, we'll give you $100,000 back to your club then if you buy 50 of these. You know what I mean? I would just rather save the upfront cost.
And if you look at it, on the other hand, too, even if you spent whatever the dollar amount, I don't care what dollar amount you put it on, you right away you put that on, you can divide that by 3. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if I hurt one, oh, big deal. I got another one. I hurt another one. I got another one. But you know what you invested in that turbocharger, you divide it by 3 years. So that's what it costs you per year to have it. You know, so it cost me, you know, $3,200 a year for a $10,000 turbo, basically. You know, or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's cheap.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's cheap. If what is even no matter how you divide it, if you can get 1 3-year warranty out of it. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Ooh, Dean Holicky, box tires, box turbo, same color tractor, make it all equal. Then what we'd have would be a NASCAR Winston Cup or NASCAR or whatever you want to call. I quit watching NASCAR because of that.
Yeah, I did too. You know, they have the same car shape or whatever, and that's just put different names on them. Yep.
Good comment, Dean.
Yep.
Component in all classes. Well, all classes do make quite a bit more power than years ago. Like Super Farm, good hot running Super Farm was 700, and now they're between 1,600 and 1,800. You might as well say for horsepower, right in that range, a window anyway.
Right.
That's what a pro stock was in 2000, wasn't it?
2000, yeah. You mean right, and it's still coming, and that's all coming out of a 3x3 turbo.
Yeah.
That's why I say about like a 5.0 turbo, they're going to get big power out. They're going to double their horsepower eventually, and it's going to all it's going to do is cost more. And they're going to get them turbos to run just like the 6.5s and the 6.4s right now and the 6.3s. They're going to make that 5-inch turbo spool up and run just like the big ones. And then what are you going to have? Same thing the pro stock struggles with, keeping stuff together. Whereas if right now in pro stock, you don't need it. You know, Randy Brew ran a 6 1/4, made 87 passes, and was very competitive the whole time, right? Before he had a problem, and he broke his drive line. He didn't break anything in the motor, and the motor all survived it.
He's got the baby doll horseshoe in his butt, though.
He does. You know, but
yeah,
that's why I say you put limits on the turbos, and the turbo builders are still always trying to make them better, and they will. That's their job.
Yeah, they're not going to just leave well enough alone.
Yeah, back in the 90s, Hypermax had the Super Farm turbo you had to buy. And once everybody bought one, then he came out with a new one. And then everybody had to buy that one to keep up, you know. So that's, that was good business for him. You know,
it's still going that way. Going that way with turbos, whether it be Apex, like you talk about Super Farm, Apex, Weimer, or Hearts. I mean, that's kind of the 3 top amigos right now, ain't it?
What's that?
That's kind of the top 3 amigos in the 3 charger deal right now, ain't it?
Right, and they were all involved in the new rules for some of the turbos. They all got a little bit of a say in it, from what I understand.
And look how I'm speaking of Super Farm. Look how far things have come in Super Farm, where years ago went intercooler, and intercoolers would walk right on by the guys without them. And now you put an intercooler Super Farm and a non-intercooler one together, they're pretty tight.
Yep, but it's a different turbo.
Yes.
For each one of them. And I believe different cams in the motor too, so. But they've got to figure it out. Guys will figure it out. Whatever you give them a rule of, they will figure out how to make it work.
Yes.
The same guys that were winning before without a box turbo are still going to be the guys winning with a box turbo. Yeah, they are.
But
That's just because they'll take the time and and go to town and make sure they get everything out of it they can.
Yeah, you get everything out of it. But not only that, their chassis, their drive line, and their tires, and how they balance it, and how they get it to hook up, how they drive. There's a lot of factors there that guys that are really good that know their equipment that, if you want to be at the top, you got to eat, sleep, drink, and breathe it.
Yep. You're going to go to the dyno. You're going to try all different kinds of stuff and to make that work and just get the edge on the next guy. It's no different than what it is now.
No, that's competitive edge. That's competition.
Yep. I'm not going to say which way to go is better or not. It's up to everybody else. I will do whatever the majority of the people want to do, and go with that is what I'm going to say. But I do like competition.
Tom Yellis, I am not for a box turbo. I feel it will take away the drive to be competitive because if my turbo builder comes up with something new, it's an edge that others don't have. A box turbo,
takes that away.
Do realize it would save money. However, I think it will slow down progress in the class. That's a valid point.
So if we stick with what we're doing, any of you guys want to guess at how much more horsepower would we get in the next 5 years with a 4.1? If we stayed with a 4.1, let's take some shots at guessing turbo advancement and how much horse. Are we going to gain 500 horse in 5 years? That's my question. I personally don't think so because we took it back already a little bit this year. From the boat prop turbo, we're going to lose 50 to 60 horse from what we did, and they've worked out. I know the guys have worked really hard to make this turbo get there, but they can't. They haven't yet. But give it time. The new rule limits that a lot, But give it time, they'll probably make some, but I don't think they're going to make 500 horse, in 5 years. I don't, and I don't think injection pump timing. Delivery and all that, you're not going to get that out of it either.
That'd be a good question to ask Mr. Fry about. See what his thoughts would be on those.
I have asked him that. He says, I hope so, but I don't know what to do. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know where we're going to get it, but, some of you might come up with something, you might gain 30 or 40 horse, or maybe 100 horse on that, but I mean, it's been going on 10 years, and we've had different cams and injection pumps and different injectors and tried them at all different positions, got them in there, and guys are going to come up with something better, but how much better? Right?
Much better, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've seen over the years, like Pro Stock and stuff, was it Scheid that had the dual fuel line injectors and a bunch of guys had them, and you've heard the depth of the injectors in the cups, changes, a lot of different things.
Yep. Tom thinks the same thing. No more than 100 horse in 5 years. Where are you going to get it from? Some of you might come up with something, but the Super Farm went for 5 years and didn't have to buy a turbo, I don't think. Because it's been Super Farm around for 40 years, and they didn't.
But they bought 5 sets of tires, though.
They did. But that's the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Tires. And that'll end sometime, too. But Super Farm did gain a lot, 20 years ago. But in the last 5 years, they haven't gained a lot, I don't think. Which is good, right? They're not buying turbos twice a year.
I think it takes.
There for a while, we were buying the Super Farm. We were buying 2 turbos every year just to keep up because somebody came up with something better.
And then when you buy one, you almost got to go dyno to make sure that you got it dialed in. It is.
Yep. But this is before dynos because they just told you it was better. You didn't know. Before, in the 90s, nobody dynoed. You just threw them on and hoped they ran better. You had to feel it in the seat of your pants.
Turn the timing up till you burn a hole and then back it off 2 degrees and put new slugs in it.
Yep. Back then, we'd look at the smoke as a stack of smoke. You know? Yeah. Yep. The dynos are great. I mean, it really, that saves people a lot of money because you put it on, it didn't make any difference. Don't buy it. Right?
Well, the other part of the dyno is too is you got a problem and you can't figure it out. Put your thumb on it. When you take it there, you get your thumb on it really quick because it shows.
You do.
Yeah, you can't make that up in a full season screwing around trying to figure it out in the chassis.
Right. Right. And you might think it's a motor. It might be something else. You don't know.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Mark Hawthorne was talking about that when we visited him. And he said that specifically, you know. Here he thought it was this, and it was actually the tires. We put new tires on, and away it went.
Yep. Colin, you're on. Yep. Colin, you're right, 100%. Yet how many people have jumped from Super Farm with pretty well set of rules? Pullers will always want more. Yes. If you want more, don't change your class. Go to the next class, is what I say. If you want more, don't try to change Super Farm into something you want. Super Farm is what it is. Just using it for example. Don't try to make, Super Farm more. It's a good class. Go to the next class. If you want to go more, go Light Pro or Limited Pro or Pro Stock, move up. If you want a component chassis, the classes are there for it.
I agree with Tom. I personally don't think there's much to gain with our current rules, but obviously someone could prove us wrong.
Right.
That's true,
Yeah,
James.
I remember remember Super Farm broke 1,200 horse. Yeah, we're at the limit. Now they're at 1,700 horse, Yep. But that takes a lot of time and they haven't gained a lot. They haven't gained 100 horse in the last couple of years, I don't think. Have they? They're probably any Super Farm guys out there that are running and, do you tried anything?
I think in the last couple of years I think they went from the 1,500 to 1,700-ish mark in the last 5 years, but
yeah,
here again, how much more are they going to gain from where they're at?
Right.
They're
really fighting to gain 20 or 30 horse.
That's
trying different injectors. Yeah.
Yeah, nickel diamond it now. So
right, and it's expensive when you get down to that last 20 or 30 horse to try and find it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's that much harder to get that out.
It is. And that'll be where Limited Pro will get, and the 5.0 class will get there too. And I guarantee that 5.0 class will get they'll get above 4,000 horse. They'll start tweaking them turbos and making them, so everybody thinking they're in a class that's going to be easy in the 5.0 class. You're wrong. They're going to make them turbos. Well, the first time I dynoed a 4.1 turbo on mine, it was 1,700 horse. And the last time it was 2,600 horse. And that was less than 10 years. But I think we're at the limit now. So
there's, just in that time, and you think what's changed since then, I'm sure, different cuts in the pistons in the bowl, cam shafts for sure, different grinds, different things with the heads. Heads have been a big thing. The flow, certainly injection pumps, turbos, and injectors. So there's a lot that's needed to change since then.
I really think turbos and fuel fuel and air is where it's all changing. You got and better exhaust manifolds and intake manifolds are a thing too, but you're not gaining 500 horse there, but altogether you will with everything.
Yeah.
But
it's a pack.
I think Limited Pro is close. Like Tom said, 100 horse in the next 5 years would be crazy. Because I don't think there's anybody in the country that dynos more than Tom, and he would know. Yep.
Yep. I'm sure of that.
Yep. So
heads will get expensive with box chargers. Yes, I agree. Because now you got to try and make the head flow better with that charger on there and changes to it. So.
Yep. And it might be the other way. It might not need to flow better. It might be smaller. You might go both ways, right?
Never know.
Right.
That charger like.
Yep. You look at exhaust manifolds. Everybody was making these big ones so air could flow, and the air came out way too lazy. You might want something smaller. So you got more velocity with it. So I don't know. But it was a good talk. and I'm waiting. I'm really waiting on. Like I said, Excalibur's having their board of directors meeting, I think, right now, and talking about what they're doing. And if they go this way, I'm interested to see how it works, right? And what guys think of it. You know, I don't know.
I just wouldn't want to be on that board of directors. Is if the class wants it and all are in, and then you sit in that board meeting, just like the conversation we just had. You know, all these different scenarios, and you voted it down for the greater good of the club. You know, what's going to happen then? You know,
and that's the question. You know, and I talked with my friends out there, and he says, you know, what really sometimes you need say we have a Badger State pull up north, and some of the guys from down south that aren't in the points race don't want to go up there. You want the NTPA pullers to come pull with you there. If we're up north to get the numbers there, guys, well, I'm out of the points. I'm not driving way up there, but the local guys up there could come and pull if they have the same rules.
Right.
And that's why we have to, I don't care what organization you're with. We all kind of have to keep with the same rules, and we do it, but if we all go with the box turbo, that's one thing, but one club to do that really limits them guys. And if they want to go somewhere else, they're going to have to buy another turbo. So is that cheaper? No, it's not.
For instance, Brandon Heller is president of the ATV Garden Tractor Pulling Club. And I was on their podcast like a month ago, and they were talking about stuff. And they said, ask me that. What's your opinion, like garden tractor pulling versus like big tractors and stuff? What's your opinion, of that? And I said, well, for instance, I've pulled 3 organizations with Ross's tractor. And all 3 organizations have different rules for the same class. One has 1,000 pounds and 4,000 RPM. Another one has 1,050 pounds and 4,200 RPM. And the other one's got this. So you're constantly, if I decide to go somewhere else this weekend, I know that I got to go there and readjust to get it finely tuned to get it to stay there. And the other thing of it is like, his engine, you got to do it when it's hot, because if it's cold and you set it and you make a pass and you win, if they bring that tack over, you'll be like 200-300 RPM over because it's hot now.
Yep.
So it's just it's a pain in the butt. Why can't everybody get on the same rules and you can go support all 3 and not do nothing but unload, put fuel in, and go pull?
Yep. I think Aaron just said, like I said about, we want guys to support each event, and if they can't because they don't have the right turbo,
right,
it's tough, and that's the tough thing. Yeah. I want everybody to be on the same rule no matter what it is, no matter which way anybody goes. We need to all be on the same page.
Yeah. And here's the deal, there's enough pulls and pulling out there that I think everybody be on board to help grow pulling. That would help it tremendously. If there's no hook this weekend, and a couple friends up north say, hey, why don't you guys come up? We'll cook out, have a good time. You guys have fun with us. Why not roll up and go support them guys?
Right.
Same thing in the fall. Hey, you guys ain't pulling. Why don't you come down to Fall National? Support us down there. We came up, in June. Why don't you come down here in September? It makes the whole world go round.
Right. Andy Keys is right. We can't make there. I'm dead against making rules that separate each club or organization. We all need to be on the same page, and that's easier and better for everybody.
It is.
I've watched it for years. Yep.
It is. And if you're going to pull PPL, pull PPL. Support them. You're supporting pulling. If you're going to pull Badger State, ECI, NTPA, WTPA. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's closer drive for you, or you like these guys, or you feel great. But also, if you want to come to Badger State, the welcome mat's out. Come pull.
Yep. We'll never chase anybody away as long as everything's the same, right?
Come pull. Yep. Let's
we want everybody here.
Outlaws had box 4-1s till around 18 or 19, but ultimately dropped it because they wanted to go other places while competing and have others be able to come play. Seemed like the better option. that's where the box turbo thing is going to alienate you.
It is. It is. It is. And like I said, I see both sides. I really do understand both sides of it, you know. But it's a tough thing, you know. Yep.
UPM, and it's nice to have Badger State WTP the same. People can float around and they're not running for points. Yes.
Right. 100%. Yep.
And it's fun. And it's fun to go pull, even if you're not running for points. Like, for instance, the garden tractors and the mini rod, we don't run a full points thing. So between announcing and other stuff, I can't. If I was going to run a full points thing, then some of my announcing I can't do these pulls because we're going to run the points this year. But it's fun to go. There's no nothing. I mean, you just go pull. Let's try and win one day and have a good time. And I'm not worried about, do I dare try this? This is kind of out on the edge. Maybe I better be conservative because I know this works and we'll just do this. But when you go to those pulls and you're not points pulling, you're like, heck yeah, let's try this. Hero or zero, whatever. You learn from it.
You ran all summer with a box turbo on your organization. You want to go to Louisville or Cloverdale, wherever he's having his pull or something like that. You're gonna buy a different turbo anyways, right? Unless everybody goes that way. It's a tough thing. It's a tough.
Tucker has some mixed classes too, and he tries to even them up. Like some of the hot farms run out east, I think are like a 510 cubic inch versus the 466, and he's got them kind of figured out. They run closer together. Some of them here last year, I think, were squawking a little bit. There's a bit of difference,
Yeah.
But he's trying to make it good for everybody too. Like, want everybody to play. So
it's tough to do that. That's a tough,
It's hard.
Like our hot farm guys are under cubed and under turboed to go down there and pull with them guys. We compete well, but you're showing up with a knife to a gunfight sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yep. So it all needs to be on the same page. Hot farm's the biggest class in the country. There's the most numbers of any of them, right?
And look, even just around here, if you think about it, South Central has a hot farm variation. UPM up there does Badger State, PI, NEW, WTPA.
Yeah.
Just think, and Fantasy does too.
Yep.
ECI. I mean, we just named off 6-7 of them within 500-mile radius.
Right.
Basically.
So and they're not all the same either, but they're close. They're pretty close. I think most of them all follow the same.
They're not all the same, but yeah, they're not far off. Right.
And guys always want to change our hot farm rules either. We have 18 or 20 of them all the time. Why would we change anything? If you want to go faster, there's other classes. Right. If you want 24/5 tires, jump in Super Farm or Light Pro or something like that.
All you're doing is when you change a class that's at large is making everybody get their checkbook out and spend money on something they wouldn't have had to.
Right. Yeah, because usually 80% of the guys in the class are happy. You know what I mean? They're happy where they're at, and then this is what we are. Yep. But
I think it was a great conversation. Thanks for everybody that was jumping in and chiming in. That makes it more fun for us, and a lot more.
Definitely, it makes the hour go a lot faster.
I just think the conversations are great that way, and we get everybody's input in there. I mean, this is an open table. Nobody's gonna browbeat you for what you think. I mean, that's your humble opinion. That's great, and that's what we want. That's basically what we wanted out of this conversation tonight. Even you and I back and forth, different things, different ideas. It's
Yep.
what it's about.
We do have some shop tours scheduled, guys, coming up in the next few weeks. I've talked to some guys, so we're going to see some machining done and a couple cool ones. I'm not going to promise anything because we have to fit them in, and it takes John and I have to take off, and usually half a day. If we try to do it during the week, and the weekends seem like they're busier than heck anymore. So it's
We'll get
it's
some
tough to
in,
get done, but we do have a couple scheduled. So
yeah.
a
We'll
couple
get
of really cool ones. I feel they're going to be pretty cool. So
yeah.
we'll talk about them. We'll let you know what we have. Hopefully, as soon as we can get one done, we'll let you know what it is in advance, so you can tune in if it's something you want to see. So, thank our sponsors again, and I think we can be done. Yeah.
We like Think Front Street Toys, Salama Enterprises, Casper Egg, Trip Downing, and Wettenkamp Transport for helping us out. And Ryan Zellick, the king, for helping us out all the time. He's the king.
Yep. Well, thank Ryan for putting us all together for us all the time. Unsung hero.
He is.
Thank you, John. I don't know about the king, but
king.
Yep.
You're the king.
King.
You should mention if anyone wants
Can't do the Heil Hitler thing.
Badger State, show up this Saturday morning, Greg, at 10 a.m.
Yep. We have spring meeting is 1:00 general membership meeting at Norris Tavern Saturday at 1:00. So anybody wants to come there and you have anything to say, there's a good place to. We don't really do anything. We go over the schedule and get our. I think the guys just like it for a party. We didn't have it last year and it was all fine, but the guys like the party. So we'll get together for a reason and sell some beer and drink some beer, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
they usually
but if you ever wanted to be a tech official or want to check it out, you have tech school that morning, right?
Right. We've got enough guys lined up. I think a couple new guys lined up to help with that too. So we should be good.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
We'll see you later. Thanks.